So here is a quick run through of Glime. So we'll open a fresh file. I'll just clear this out. And meanwhile, at the command line, we're going to issue the command load Glime. That compiles and loads the pre-existing Glime code, which is all on the common Lisp side. There's nothing we have to do in Emacs. So now we make an object. We'll call it myBox, and let's inherit from box. And we'll start to give it some computed slots. Let's give it one computed slot called linear size, which will be the sum of the three dimensions, the length, width, and height. So if we start in with an expression, so we're going to add, and then we'll say the. Now as soon as we say the, we see the possible completions in the mini buffer. So these are all the messages that could go for the current object, whether they be predefined in the current definition or coming from an inherited object like box or any of its superclasses. So in this case we see height, length, width is there. Those are the three we want. As soon as we start typing, the choices narrow down. And then we have a key combination to select from the currently available choices. In this case, we'll take the height, and next will be the, and now we're going for width, which is right there, and the length. So simple enough. Now for calling functions on GDL objects. Let's say that we want to make a slot to refer to the top vector. And that is, so short, basically we want to make a shorthand for the function call on this object, which would be the, and then we're calling a function, so open parentheses. And let's go for the face normal vector, and there it is. We've narrowed down already to the face normal vector, and now we have the documentation, the argument documentation for that function, and we see it takes one of the standard keywords for direction. So in this case, we're going to want this face normal vector top. So there's that one. Now let's do one more function call that takes more arguments. Let's have a slot for the top right front vertex of this box. And in order to derive that, we can go for the vertex, which is also a function. And we see that as soon as we open a parenthesis, we have the choice of our functions. And one of them is the vertex, sure enough. And the vertex, the first argument it takes is the direction 1, which again is one of these keywords. So we'll want the top. And then a direction 2, which is another keyword. It should be orthogonal to the first one. So right is certainly orthogonal to top. And finally a third direction keyword, which we'll give as front. And that determines one of the corners of the boxes. Now let's make a new child object, and let's make an object that's going to be a box that's half the dimensions of the current box, so half the length, and the center. Let's call this the small box. And we have to specify the type, of course, as box. Now as soon as we've specified the type as box, now Glime is prompting us with the possible inputs for that object type. So these will be the same as what we had for the mix-in, but in this case we want to give a center, and we'll specify the center as the slot that we've already defined, the top right, and that narrows down right away, the top right front vertex. And then length, will be the length. Let's use half of the length in the parent. Width will be half of the width. And finally, height, half the height. So in this way, we've allowed Glime to assist us in coming up with this definition and using messages which are applicable for the situation.